Well now, what do we do? The Nightingale's not here, of course. Am I stuck here now? I need a rocker. Well, we know someone for that. I'm amazed that everything I do lately points me back to the same bar over and over again. I've been visiting this place like every other episode. Or in this case, like only like a half an hour ago, I think. Getting impressive. What's all this doing here? It's a barricade. The doorway's been blocked up. What's going on? Timur? Timur, are you in there? Where's he gone? Aliya! Amir? It's good to see you. And you. You came back. Will you be here for long? Amir, why is the bar barricaded? I don't know. I was running an errand to the cat kiss. And I came back and it was like this. I've got to find Timur somehow. Oh, and lady? I remembered what the robot said to the gate before it threw me inside. Ifarali. It came back to me in a dream. What does it mean? I'll see if I can find out. Alright. But don't say it to the gate, or it will kill you. I have to go. Ifarali. It's no kind of patois that I know of. Did Six really tell Miari what Timur had said? About him being Kisreth? Can he just report at any time? Not in person? Technically they seem to be in communication, but other times where he told on me were done in person. I was kind of operating on that assumption for a lot of the playthrough. Also, what good does having a barricade do? Does your tent not just have a... See, there's a door. This is just strange to me because these are just tents. Like, it's not a building. You can just go in. There are other ways in. It's not like the material going around the outside goes like underground or anything. Like, it's accessible. And a barricade is dismantleable. Because it's just a stack of stuff. But like, even if it was impervious, it wouldn't keep you from getting inside of a tent. It's just a tent. I just find myself uncertain of what it's accomplishing. I can check on Nomori or Roi. We know the robot Amir was with spoke a word to the gate. Said Boyaki Rafal. Ibenya. Yeni huasale katali. I can't agonize over the pronunciation much because the messages are only going to be on the screen for a moment anyway. see. Wasn't there a speed setting? I keep forgetting. Slightly turning it up. I have it set pretty low, and I guess the space between my phrasing, my terms are getting a little long. Mistress, there you are. Oh, well, that resolves that. I guess I don't need to say the word to get here. But yeah, I might have turned the text speed a little too low early in the playthrough and then didn't think about it too much, but at the beginning it was definitely too fast if I remember correctly, and I do need to like have some breathing room to like occasionally get a chance to comment or do anything, because if I'm only reading text at the speed the game is giving it to me, then I basically just have to pause the game whenever I want to talk like this to do it, you know, the actual let's play at some point where we do any kind of commentary. But the I probably have it too slow because I do feel myself just pausing between the lines. It does feel like the during the sailing sequences that there's just like too long of gaps at times where I'm kind of held hostage by the game to keep reading its lines before I can continue. I probably should have turned it back up a while ago. I think I let it stay low, just not considering the option for a while. But I probably should have fixed it like 5 hours ago. My ethical core has been most concerned, mistress. Did the god tell you where it sent me? God, mistress. I have not been in touch with any gods. I was informed of your location by the Elbereth Gate, mistress. So the gate told you where to find me? Indeed, mistress. This core observed your arrival, of course. It recognized you and wished to return you to, well, the gate believes you belong to me, mistress. I was right. The robots used to rule things, and the humans used to be the slaves, and there was a mass death in that mine. I was saved as a slave. I've been sent here, but I was then informed of he was informed of my location because I'm his property from its perspective. It was informing me that my property had been located. But how did it tell you? I received a communication, mistress. It called me. I am most glad you are intact, mistress. I was not looking forward to explaining the loss to Professor Miyari. Should we return to the ship now, mistress? We've still more to do here. You're telling me the gate can think? It has a core, mistress. As do you and I. I have not dissuaded the gate from its hypothesis, mistress. It seems a useful state of affairs. A happy misunderstanding. I don't think Roy is there. Oh, we're just not gonna go back. Okay. Go back to Tappy and talk about what happened with his relic. It's a bit agonizing to have had something bad happen to Roy and just had no recourse, no follow-up, no context, nothing to pursue about it. The word the boy spoke must have told the gate's hopper to send him to the moon where we found him. That moon was once directly connected to Elbereth, and still is, just as the mine was. Evidently. We know the older emperors had some kind of link to Elbereth. I wonder if Elbereth used to be important. I mean, really important. Aliya! Stop there. My apologies, but you're not welcome today. Toppy, what are you hiding? Who are you hiding? Oh, what's the use? Let her in. Oh, well then. So much for gallantry. You heard the lady. There she is. Aliya. Oh, Roy, you're safe. I was so worried. Were you looking for me? I didn't know how to. I came here before, but Toppy didn't let on. I didn't want to see you. I can't believe I trusted you. You did it again. I'll leave you two ladies to it, I think. Where'd you get that infernal crown? Who wants it so badly? It was the crown they wanted? And they didn't care what they broke to get it. Well, whoever took it, it's gone now. I'm sorry, Aliya. I'm sure it was precious to you, but there was nothing I could do. You're sure Toppy didn't take it? Really now? He was very interested when I showed it to him. If Toppy wanted it, he would have made you or me an offer. I'm sorry about your shop. I'll rebuild it, I guess. I know how. Did you manage to activate the crown? Before it was taken? I did. I don't think you'll believe me. I've never known you to lie. Harsh honesty, but you never lie. The crown spoke to me. I powered the thing up, eventually. Nothing happened, so I put it on my head. I look pretty good with the crown on my head. Did you know that? I think it's the crown that rips your consciousness out of you when sat down in that chair in front of that particular eye. It's the thing that was put on Six's head. You're a queen, Roy. You always have been. Of my work yard, maybe. Not even of that now. So what did the crown say? Just a whisper. It whispered. Lots of voices, but one was the loudest. What kind of voice was it? A man. A young man. He sounded far away. What did he say? This young man. Did he tell you who he was? He was describing places, things he'd seen. I don't think he could hear me. It was all a mess. Only one thing I heard clearly. He said he didn't want to go to the Withering Palace. He said he'd rather die. I've been there. We found a weird hopper out there. Are you hoping to sell it to me, Aliya? Because I don't want it. Six remembered something about the hopper. Something from before. Six has been there before? Six says the hopper didn't send bodies. Six said the hopper was used to record people. I wanted to see if it was true. To record people? I suppose that might be possible. If you got the eye to ignore the physical matrix entirely. But why would anyone do that? That's a people question. I don't really deal with people. Sounds like you have no idea what you're talking about, Aliya. Nothing unusual about that, except you normally hide it better. So, where is it, this hopper? How do you feel about taking a short flight in the Nightingale? You're serious? I'm terrified. I've never sailed before, you know that. It'll be just like old times. You and me. Adventure, together. Old times weren't always good times, Aliya. You always seem to come out unscathed. You can say no if you want to. Understood. I'm not saying it. Let's do it. Right now, before I change my mind. Back to the ship, then. So I left the surface of Elbrith. Alright. We're leaving in a hurry. Good update, though. That's good. We found O'Roy. And more narrative context. So the crown we've been trying to figure out wasn't just specifically the Emperor's crown. It's the crown that causes this. Lets them record people, copy people. At a different purpose. Aliya. Yes? I had no idea. The sky. You haven't seen anything yet. Come up the ladder. There's a dome. You can see. Maybe. In a moment. Maybe. 6. Shall we show her how it moves? Mistress. Thank you for this, mistress. Mistresses. I'm always a little confused by when he has a sad face, and I'm like, what's sad right now? Mary seems to have gone quiet about the crown. Oop. Roy's agreed to come with me to the dust-soaked ruin where 6 encountered the strange effects of the hopper eye. It's gonna be a bit of a trip. But let's go! Either they'll get talkative, or maybe it'll trigger that fast travel thing. With 3 people in play, who knows who's talking? Every option's valid here. Oh, pass control to 6. How far will this skip? Surely it sometimes is useful for saving time. Oh, we're just here. Okay. This is the place that the voice in the crown mentioned, but why would anyone build a place out here? Is everywhere you go like this? You have a strange hobby. Tell me you can hopper us back, 6. I can indeed, Mr. Soroy. So what is this place you brought me to? It's horrible. It was called the Withering Palace. It might have been fine once. The wellspring didn't always blow dust and sand. It's creepy, Aliya. That's what it is. This gate doesn't open. There's a way around. We just saved a mountain of time. So many books here. Was it a library? A library of a terrible kind. I don't like the sound of that. What's up here? Anything good? Your friend is very eager, mistress. It's just more books, Aliya. He's moving rapidly. What did you expect? I don't know. A couple of skeletons with their hands locked around each other's throats. You ever find anything like that? Environmental storytelling. I almost wonder if that's a joke directly at the expense of some moment in Fallout or something. It feels like something that you would have found in Fallout 3. Thankfully, we don't have the crown, so we don't have to worry about anything unfortunate happening. I should take you to Anarchy sometime. You'd like it there. I don't trust your taste, Aliya. The eye is there, Roy. I see it. This is pretty incredible. Maybe hoppers were more common back then. But to cut one open like this... Cut open? Looks like it. This is a normal hopper eye, except it's been disemboweled. It's a hack. Honestly, I quite love it. So what does it do? No idea. I only just got here, Aliya. Give me a minute. Take your time. I'll take as long as I need. You can stop watching me. So who are all these lot? Emperors? There's one that's got no arms. That's the serpent god. God of merchants and traders. Alright, we did... Yeah, we got that one down. So Toppy's god then. I like that. Even looks a bit like him. They don't have enough eyes either. Right, I did lock in the... I did lock in the entire... serpent definition. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I got distracted by the fact that she brought that up. Made me wonder, like, wait, did they have one eye back then? Are these statues more directly representative than expected? How many eyes should they have, Roy? If I built a god, I'd give him lots of eyes. Maybe some magnificent magnetic hands. There's something else. Lined up? How are you making small talk and analyzing this? Passing right through the center of this space. Interesting. It's a hopper source. So the beam comes out of here, strikes whatever it strikes, and carries it across into the eye. But the eye doesn't work. I thought it was maybe used to execute people. Sounds about right. I believe there is more to it than that. Please, look again. 6, could you go stand in the middle of this space? Between the hopper source and the eye, Mr. Soroy? That's right. I am ready, Mr. Soroy. This hopper doesn't refract the physical stuff back, but suppose the dynamics still came through intact. Like the way some people record themselves as messages. Maybe 6 was used to capture someone, and that's what it's remembering. Capture someone? If you've got questions, Aliya, ask them. But don't just repeat things back, it makes you sound thick. What are you, a video game protagonist? Remind me why we're friends? Because thick people need smart friends. You see, the good thing about hoppers is they're physical. Every time they're used to entangle, it's already there. They get a bit scratched. Like the way a ship leaves a wake in the water. So if this thing hasn't been used too much, we might be able to recover a few stray images. Hoppers shave bits off you? Why did no one tell me this? It's more like an after image, but whatever. The point is, between Six's foil and the entanglements in the Hopper's eye, we might be able to get a few interesting resonances. And what happens to me, Mr. Zeroy? I have no idea. Ready? This is a tangent, but I'm just having a side thought about the fact that, like, people accuse me of being dyslexic on a regular basis because I make any mistakes reading ever, I guess. Which, whatever, it's just what happens. People diagnose you constantly when you do Let's Plays or in public in any way. And who knows? I don't know. I've not been assessed, and everything, all mental diagnoses are so, like, spectrum-y that it's, like, hard to nail down. Just like how I've been spending a lot of the last year debating whether or not I have ADHD and stuff like that. But I have noticed that I've made shockingly few reading mistakes lately in this game, or maybe even for the entire run of it, which is a bit of a reminder of, like, how, like, I'll sit here and I'll choke over, like, Final Fantasy XIV and keep flubbing, but then, like, I play a game like, I think, Night in the Woods, and I can just go. And I think some of that comes down to, like, some sort of element of, like I'm reading in real time. I don't want to keep stopping and pausing and pre-reading every line before I read it out loud for pacing's sake. But I also don't want to fuck it up. So you try to, like, find just the right speed to move at, to not screw things up and so on. And it goes wrong. But particularly whenever I'm reading dialogue in games, I'm suddenly way less likely to screw up than when I'm reading descriptions. And I think it's because there's a way that people talk. So my brain anticipating where the sentence is going to go is correct more often when it's dialogue than it is when it's descriptions. When somebody's writing the way that someone's talking, they're more likely to conform to certain conventions of how people speak. But when they're writing descriptions of things and all the non-dialogue text, you really have to deal with the individual writer's writing style, which can be wildly divergent to the point of being confusing. Like dealing with password, for example, there have been some sentences that just do not go where I think they're going to go, and then they go on a long trip, and then they include several things, and they just kind of go and go. And Final Fantasy XIV is full of, like, difficult terminology that you have to sit there and pause to, like, think about the pronunciation of, and some of them are strange archaic words, and some of them are made up terms for the setting, and that all, like, gets things rocky and messy to describe. I just find it interesting that, like, the writing style has a huge impact on my ability to cold read, because that's what it is. It's you doing a cold read. I think that's the term for it anyway. Not to be confused with the cold reading of like what psychics do, which is fraudulent behavior. But, like, I think it's also called a cold reading when you have to, like, or a sight reading or something, where you have to, like, sit there and try to do the text on the fly, having not pre-read it. Kind of like playing music out of a music book on the fly, having not studied the book, and just having to just react to it as you go. And it's a very specific skill. I've definitely gotten better over the course of the last decade, because I used to specifically do a really bad job, and I would be nervous about reading in front of class, so who knows if this goes towards the idea of diagnoses or whatever, but I do notice that I just am not flubbing in this, at least not lately. I don't remember the entire playthrough in its entirety necessarily, but I find the wildly different outcomes interesting. Anyway. Roy, you can't just wipe my robot. I don't think that'll happen. But you're not sure? Of course not. I've never done this before. But don't pretend like you care about your robots, Aliya. But you'll be able to undo whatever it is you're doing? Maybe. Hard to really know. Do it. Already done.
I don't exactly know what Oroy did, but the effect on the robot was impressive.
You. Oh. You are in charge here? Roy, what's happening? A refraction. So you are in charge. This is the Withering Palace. You won't imprison me again. You can't. Ah, so I see it is still here. Still working. My followers worked for months to uncover the secret of this device. If they could see me now, the glorious result. Who are you? You do not know who I am? Has so much time passed since I ascended? Hundreds of years, at least. The Empire fell. Did you know that? Of course I did. I felled it. You have a ship? No. We're stranded here. Yes. I rather think you are, since it seems I control the hopper to the Nightingale. There are layers inside here. Layers upon layers. So this is bad. She took over Six's body. Six has control of the hopper and the ship. So she can just take off and strand us here. This is a huge security problem for us to make this mistake. You declared yourself a goddess. You wiped away the ancient religions. Do you know what they believed? Before I burned all the books, before I rewrote the tongue. Superstition. Seditious superstition. What did the ancients believe? What were their gods? They believed in a pantheon of 7. 6 gods out among the moons, and one, the 7th, waiting. The one underground? A 7th god? Waiting where? In a tomb. On the edge of the Nebula. Waiting to take the people to liberation. These people were primitives. You really pick your robots, Aliya. You were buried on Iox. Do you remember why? Oh, yes. As is the fate of all emperors, I was betrayed. I will not be betrayed again. But tell me of my world. I am not uncaring. As the darkness swept across the nebula, is all lost. You told Renba about the darkness. You were Renba's robot, and somehow you told him. His dig site and his explorations near Marcy. He was obeying you? As will you. As you have done. Aliya, if she leaves the beam of the hopper source, she'll disappear? No. She'll stay like this. There is a ship here. Follow me. Enki does not wait, Aliya. Can you turn her off? If she came and stood over here, maybe. But somehow I don't think she's going to. We just lose 6 forever? Come or depart without you. You heard the Empress, Aliya. Nothing down there now. Are you always this slow, Aliya? Is this 6? With their memory restored? Or was 6 replaced? Is what I'm wondering. Did we just kill 6 and replace them with an Empress? They're just booking it. I guess we just have to go with the flow and this is supposed to happen at this point. I was gonna say, you could say Silset. You know how to stop her if you don't want to keep going. You do not want to be left behind. Be ready. Well, she didn't abandon us. So I guess there's that. There's a bit of a thing going on where narratively it feels like there's a few branches that could happen here, and there's like some indecision I could have about what's going on. But there's a few moments we've had lately that feel really railroaded, where once I'm in the situation, it's just going to play out a specific way, and it might as well be a cutscene. But me having control of her and dialogue options makes me feel like I have choices, but I don't think you can play it out differently. I mean, here are my choices with whether or not she takes over, but there was no like attempt to turn her back. This is your ship? Do you not clean it? My robot cleaned it. Then you should be grateful your defective robot is gone. The boat seems watertight, at least. Though I would use a hopper. I prefer to fly. Good. Now we sail for Iox. Aliya, I want to go home. I don't know how you stand these dead moons. There's so much out there we still don't understand. There's more than enough to understand. I want to live my life, not walk over the wreck of someone else's. No wonder you're so cold. I'm sorry, Oroy, I didn't mean to upset you. You don't even know what the problem is, do you? You see dust-covered books and empty chairs and wonder what the story was. Just take me home. I want to go somewhere busy. She's dealing... I'm not entirely sure what the problem is either. She's dealing with just the struggle of how things are so... Did you... She's struggling with the idea of how lifeless and finite and ended things are. I feel like I might have killed 6. I'm not 1000% sure what to think about this part. I refuse to sit down on Elbereth. The place is repulsive. You can go if you want to. By all the waking waters. Big trip. Do I still control the boat at this point? Or has she taken over entirely? Besides my... Oh. Oh, dialogue popped up right when I was letting her take control. Whoops. I thought the taking control implied that there wasn't dialogue. I should show the robot... the robot neck to Oroy? Oh, from the graves. Her Highness is refusing to come down. I don't blame her. I'm surprised you came back. I have friends here, Oroy. You do, Aliya. Don't forget that. Thanks for the ride, Aliya. Good luck with your new Empress. I'll come and see you. Do that. Good faith to you, Aliya Elasra. Good faith, Oroy. I hope it won't be so long next time. Won't be so long this time, because I'm going there right now to show her the neck. We still have artifacts to show her. Earlier, when we were talking in Toppy's shop, it just felt polite to talk to her first and not show her all the relics first. But then talking to her went into a relatively on-rails story bit where we took off immediately and left her for a different planet, so... I still haven't shown her the relics I have. But time to work on that. I wonder if Roy has returned. On some level we know that she doesn't care much about the robots, potentially. Maybe she still doesn't care about 6. But, it is a bit unnerving having nobody, it's a bit unnerving having nobody question whether or not 6 is alive right now. I think she must have moved in with Toppy permanently. I suppose she's still with Toppy. So the shop has not been pieced back together. Aliya, you're back. Aliya, what a pleasure. First prompt, go outside. Roy, I brought something for you to look at. Not a chance, Aliya. Last time I looked at anything for you, I ended up living here. I'm not touching one of your finds. But you don't know what it is. Why would I care what it was? Well, so much for that. Are you two getting along? There's no point moving. He's preserving my modesty, of course. Have you seen anything of Timur? No. But I heard he was gone. By the stars, Aliya, don't tell me you did for him as well. I just want to find him. If you haven't, then I'd say he doesn't want to be found. I found a site that's too far from the rivers to reach. Further than anywhere I've been. Off the rivers. There's a whole vast space between the rivers. It's not as empty as it should be. But without the rivers, there's no air to breathe, and the nightingale can only hold so much. Sounds like you need a river, then. I'm sure people traveled there in the past. I found things made there that made it to the Nebula. Well, maybe they had really big ships. Big enough to grow plants on. I don't know. Right. They can breathe on the river. The river has air. It's weird to think about. So, I'm guessing the big crater we found, the launch pad, if we can activate that, we can probably fly there. Big enough to grow plants on, I don't know. Can you make a river? Of course you can't. Rivers don't come and go because you ask them to. But maybe they do. We're not sailing for some rock. It's a place. So maybe there was a river once, but now it's gone. Well, even if that was true, you can't just whistle for it to come back. What even is a river? You've sailed more than me. Where do they come from? Where do they start? Do you know? The water on Iox comes from Elbereth. It washes back out into space. There's no wellspring there at all then. But if there was a wellspring, maybe it would flow off Moon as a river. Well then, you just need to make a wellspring. Maybe the water goddess will help you out. They worship the water goddess on Mercy. I was joking, El. By the rivers and dirt. What's wrong with you? You can't make a river any more than you can flip Elbereth onto its back. And even if you could, you couldn't tell it which way to flow. Except with those crystals. But what if there was a river before? A new river might follow the same course. It might, if it starts from the same place. But rivers don't just vanish, and they don't just appear. I'm sorry about your distant star, El, but maybe, just maybe, you're stuck down here with the rest of us for once. The robot still won't land on Elbereth. Have you learned anything from her? I think she was responsible for the fall of Iox. You're joking. You're not joking. Elbereth, Aliya Elasra, have you finally met someone worse than you for causing disasters? Look after yourself, Arroy. You talk like I'm a stranger to you. I picked up a few items you might be interested in. Oh, yes. A shattered statuette made out of an unknown ancient site. Water bearer goddess. It's passable. Still, I can probably shift it, but not for much. Not seen anything quite like it. I might be able to make you an offer. Now then... A small book made of rubbery paper. The spine has been painted on. Whoa. Well, that's a long one. Alright, well, let's start with and. That seems to always be true. Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Nope. Me. Uh-oh. It has a lot of symbols, but I'm sure it translates as by. How could you be sure of that? Besides the fact that the game just gives you that after a few attempts. Sit by fire. Sit by fire and... listen to me? Illuminate me? Hear me. Read me? I guess it is a book. Sit by fire and read me. But you're just guessing. I think this comes from the same site as the compass and the Chronicles of Mazwai I found earlier. This new find should help find that site. So you've seen it. The book for your shattered water bearer goddess statue. You have a deal. I'll be sorry to sell this on when the time comes. They said it was passable, like it wasn't even that good. I've uncovered a few more items you might be interested in. Oh, yes? It's a shard from a copper jug dating back to the earliest days of the Nebula. There's nothing wonderful about that. And it might be a hole. Aliya, I trade mostly in jewelry and gold and historical and strange things, not waste. What you give me will keep me in business for a week. Anything else, let me consider another time, my fine lady. He got so excited when he just specifically refused something. Listen, Toppy. I found the source of your brass artifact. Did you now? You see, Oroi, you're too hard on her. Don't hold back now, Aliya. Spill what you saw. It was quite a sight. An ancient market, ruined. A market? Tell me, was there more like the brass device? Was there treasure beyond my wildest dreams? There was a boy living there. He somehow wandered through the Catkiss Gate. Did you know the Catkiss Gate is a long-distance hopper? There's a word you can say that takes you there. What word? Ifrali. Beautiful. Like the sound of a distant, rolling cymbal. I will try it. You're just gonna try it? I questioned for a moment whether or not it was a good idea to tell him, because obviously he's not the most... He's framed as not being super trustworthy in this narrative, so who knows. But being more trusting and more risk-taking has led to, like, a significant percentage of the revelations, just overall. So it's also worth considering. But the, But I'm just worried that he might use it on people or something? Or if he uses it himself, is he just going to strand himself? Like, how is he planning on getting back? Look after her, will you? I'm the perfect host. He's alright, actually, when he stops talking. By the way, Toppy, who buys all this stuff of yours? Respectable people. And a few Elberth rats, too. Why do they want it? What good does it do? Different reasons. Some are collectors, rich types. I think money hurts them, so they spend it quickly. Most of them are old. Prostate problems. They leak money. Ugh. She also said that. I mop up. I'm an Elberethian, I'm not above it. How is business? It never booms. Somehow we all get by. Prostate problems, they leak money. What an upsetting sentence. May your footsteps fall soundly, Aliya. I'll see you around, Aliya. Okay, so we seem to be on reasonably positive terms, given everything. There's a dedicated inscriptions menu, but is there a... Let's see, unsolved inscriptions. But is this just most of them? This one's really short. The base of the praying goddess. Heaven, luxury, ground. Yeah, it's one we haven't seen much of. Can I scroll all the way to the beginning? Miara gave me a brooch. Holy Emperor. What? I don't understand how this menu works. It's frustrating. What was that screen? Is it solved now? Huang showed me a passage from the Annals of Mazwai. Vanished robots. I think this is labors. Yeah, because that's work, so this would be people who work, maybe? Okay. This is a somewhat upsetting backlog. Okay, what was that different one? Translate. View translation. Heavily scratched brass bell. Gives me a different prompt. I guess it's because I don't know any of the terms, so it's useless. All I have is this, really. Help, fair star. Help, snake. Why is it bringing up help specifically? Snake star. The bell. Song of the songbird. So very occasionally it says view translation instead of translate, which is confusing phrasing, but seems to mean that I haven't translated it. So view translation is weird because it doesn't mean that. Purple robe at Renbo's cache. We pilgrims pray. Pilgrim still seems correct. Moving temple people. Just hasn't been confirmed. When I leave those ones, it doesn't kick me out. Like across the whole screen again. Gods protect us. I guess those are words we do know. The gods protect us. I can't move around. And so for every one of those, it kicks me out across the whole thing. The serpent, we definitely know that one. So I guess they're still ranked as being unsolved if they were unsolved at the time. But if they've been solved since, because we've locked all the words in and they were correct at the time, they're still just floating there? But what throws me a little bit is that she doesn't do the whole... She doesn't talk about them. I'm primarily used to these translations being processed in the form of her talking about them and giving me feedback about like how things are going. Like whether or not she thinks it's correct, whether or not certain words are being locked in. So I'm sitting here wondering, like when I change my guess, I keep wondering if she's going to confirm whether or not they're correct or something. Empire will endure forever and day. Endure forever and flower made more sense. Container? Box? Hard to say. I don't know. I'm not always sure about how best to address this stuff. It's a hell of an interface. It's hard to navigate. It always resets to one side of the list. There's no like methods of scrolling faster or getting around. I'm not entirely sure if I can actually go back and complete a translation, or if she only checks for locking stuff in during, like, finds. The feedback doesn't function the same way, in a way that makes me nervous and unsure of what's happening. Either way, we're ready to leave Albereth. And, we have a new character now. Didn't we play a prologue with 6? Does that mean that that she has to become 6 again for that prologue to happen? Am I gonna get 6 back? I'm just a bit alarmed, you know? Bit worried.